Not for the first time, World Pools comes to Kenilworth. They'll be back for Met Day in 2024, but for the first time, Rishi Prasad on my right-hand side comes to Kenilworth, comes to Cape Town to be part of a wonderful event. Rishi, thanks so much for coming to Cape Town, for being part of World Pools for this simulcast production. Just your experiences of World Pools in the UK and give some of my stories as well. How important is it for the world of racing?
Well, first of all, I should be thanking you for having me as opposed to the other way around. But yes, Whirlpool, it's getting bigger. The calendar continues to grow. In fact, just recently it's been announced that the English 1000 Guineas and the Irish 1000 Guineas has been added to the list of Whirlpool days in Europe. In terms of value, which is, if we boil it down to what we focus on, in terms of value, it's worth around £1 million to each race day in the UK. So just that in itself, when prize money is a major issue around the world, that's a huge bonus for racecourses in the UK. Hopefully goes back into prize money. But also the idea of adding some luster to the big race days that we have and we host in the UK, in Europe, and being able to understand that it is part of a worldwide show with eyeballs from around the world who are keen to understand our racing, have an opinion on our racing, and back those opinions. It adds to the value of the day as well as the intrigue from globally.
Yeah, of course, Win Place, Quinella and Swinger Pools will be commingled. And my experience is exactly the same, having Met Day as part of World Pools for a number of years. Likewise, the Gold Cup at Greyville in late July. And I see a few more South African venues have been added. Derby Day in early April at Turffontein, also Gold Challenge in June at Greyville. So that just adds and goes back to the example that you've given about more and more days being added and the impact that it has. And it probably won't be too long until we see a World Pool event almost every weekend. It looks like that's the aim, isn't it?
Well, I believe the expansion is in 2025, where they're going to add even more days to it. And then the likelihood is, when you consider the success story that has been thus far, with, for example, in the UK, we have a number of big race days in the early part of the season, 5 days of Royal Ascot, all part of the World Pool. You understand that if you think of the very best racing in all the racing jurisdictions that we can bring into the World Pool fold, there's only benefit to it, and hopefully it continues to grow.
And talking about the world and how almost small the racing world is, I mean, just two names that I think everyone overseas and around the world would be au fait with when it comes to the Met on Saturday. See It Again, to be ridden by Piers Strydom and is trained by Michael Roberts. Two names that are just synonymous all over the place.
Well, Michael Roberts, obviously somebody that I grew up watching, riding for, amongst others, Clive Britton, the late Henry Cecil, or Sir Henry Cecil. I can remember a number of horses that he rode during that golden period in the 90s for Henry Cecil at the time. And obviously, I was asking you about Piers Strydom and how old he is now, and you recall that he's 57.
Yep.
Referring to him as striker back in the day. And I remember, again, growing up with someone, I never thought I'd be in my late 40s, 50 roughly, that I'll be coming to Cape Town and he would still be riding. I must admit, it's a great pleasure and privilege to be able to see him strutting his stuff this weekend. But together, in combination with someone that I grew up and helped form my love of racing back in the UK, it's a little bit of a dream come true.
Yep. A lot of big rides that Piers Strydom's got. He's obviously got Bavarian Beauty in the Gold Rush. That'll be race 8 on the card. And then a couple of races earlier is the Grade 1 Cape Flying Championship, where he rides Thunderstruck. And it's been quite a rivalry that's been renewed a few times over in 2023. And not for the first time in 2024. They ran on King's Plate Day at Kenilworth at the start of the month. Isi Vungu Vungu, who's no stranger to our Whirlpool viewers, he won on Gold Cup Day, winning the Grade 1 Mercury Sprint, beating Thunderstruck, who will be ridden by Piers Strydom. So again, no strangers to all the viewers around the world. And just with racing being what it is, eyes glued all over the world. I mean, we're just sitting here looking at racing in the UK. Hong Kong was going on Wednesday as well. You know, Whirlpool just takes it up to that next level, doesn't it, Rishi?
It does, and it's important because, as you have already pointed out, the world is getting smaller. The racing world has continued to get smaller. We've been lucky enough to travel the world, see other racing jurisdictions. You know that everyone now has an interest. They have access as well to viewing, appreciating, understanding, contributing to other racing jurisdictions and understanding what it takes to win those races. And the international representation across the board now is becoming stronger. Therefore, it's almost automatic that a Whirlpool was going to come into effect. It's great that it's in effect now. and I think it's inevitable that it will grow bigger and bigger in years to come.
So tune in 27th of January from Kenilworth Racecourse here in Cape Town. We're looking forward to having your company, and we'll chat to you then.